AI Mentors is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting and networking needs. Our podcast, AI Mentors, hosted by Mark Kelly, brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI Mentors cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career.
Welcome to the AI Mentors podcast. I'm your host, Mark Kelly, Chief Customer Officer at Alldus International. Today's guest is Michael Schrapp. Michael is the Senior Program Lead for Smart Feed at Siemens Healthineers. Now, when we were doing this podcast, he was the Head of Business Data Analytics at Siemens Healthineers, but has recently moved role. In the podcast, Michael shares his experience in the world of data science, working in the field of healthcare, some of the challenges that need to be overcome by applying data science and AI, and offers some advice to data scientists making the move into applying machine learning into production. We also talk about some of the benefits that the community can see from the applications of data science within healthcare. Michael, very, very good to have you on the show today.
Great to be here.
Michael, would you mind giving me a little bit of background about yourself, and also why did you choose a career in AI and analytics?
So currently, as you said, I'm the head of business data analytics at Siemens Healthineers, so a leading medical technology company and a kind of spin-off from Siemens. And yeah, I'm working in the field of analytics. We are focusing on operational data and analytics. So we are looking in my team into operational data from the field, from our scanners, from MRI scanners, CT scanners. We analyze the data, but we also look into internal data within the development process, what we can extract from the data, how we can support the business, the different functions, but also of our customers, of course. Yeah. And to me personally, I studied physics. So was always interested in quantitative topics, in math, physics. And then I finished my studies in physics. I thought, well, it makes sense to do a PhD together with Siemens at that time, already in the field of medical technology, computed tomography, combining different data sources. That was basically my starting point then during the PhD to work in the field of analytics, of sensor technologies, of AI. Then I took over a role in Siemens, corporate research, was a project manager for different projects and different industries. And then some years ago, I switched to Siemens Healthineers, to the medical part of Siemens, and loving working there.
Michael, tell me a little bit about the transition from academia to industry. You know, you study physics and you kind of made that transition. For people on the outside, they wouldn't have necessarily thought it was the most straightforward transition, but physics is probably a good foundation for a lot of things.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so I think physics is a really good foundation, and I was focusing on theoretical physics actually at the end of my studies, and I early recognized that's probably not what I want to do the next years or decades. It was way too theoretical for me, and so I decided to look outside of academia. And then I found a possibility in Siemens to do, we call that industrial PhD, so a combination of working in industry at a company, but still doing your PhD at the university. And the topic was really interesting. So as I said, it was in the field of data fusion in imaging. And so I took the position, and it was a great time because in the 3 years you have both, you work in academia, you do your PhD, you have a really focus on research topics. But on the other hand, you're part of a company. You learn how the business looks like, and there are totally different skills and skill sets needed. And so it was a great opportunity for me to be in both worlds, and then at the end of my PhD, I really decided now I want to go to industry. I want to work there just to be closer to applications, to really see that you can create value working there. And yes, so I think it's a good opportunity if you are a smooth transition from academia to industry.
Tell me about some of the specific challenges in adopting AI and data analytics within healthcare, because there does seem to be more specific challenges within the healthcare industry than any other industry.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there are challenges in the healthcare environment. I mean, first, it's data privacy. Data privacy plays a huge role in healthcare, especially in Germany and Europe. For example, based on the GDPR, the European Data Protection Regulation, which is in place now. And this makes it really hard sometimes, to get the right data, to get a good quality of data for analytics and for AI. And also the labeling of the data is a real challenge. The good thing is that I'm really working in, as I said, on operational topics, operational data. And there's the benefit that it's at least slightly easier to get access to this kind of data. So I'm speaking about service information, service data. I'm speaking about IoT data, IoT data from our machines, from the CT scanners, from MRI scanners. But even there, it's a huge challenge to have access to the data. And on the other hand, there are possibilities to overcome that, to find solutions, also interesting solutions. A keyword here would be edge deployments, edge solutions. So to not sending the data over to the cloud and to a central spot, but really leaving the data at the customer, at the site where it is created, and do analytics there. You can do federated learning, so you can deploy your models at the customer side, so the data does not have to leave the customer. And so there are possibilities to work in even a difficult environment, but you're right, there are a lot of challenges here.
Tell us about some of the interesting projects you're actually working on it.
So really a different variety of projects. First, we work on predictive analytics, predictive maintenance, for making sure that the systems we have in the hospitals, small, bigger hospitals, that they are running, that we can really enable the healthcare providers that they can do their job. That the systems are up, and we work on different models, different use cases, to get better and better, to provide uptime to our customers. That's a pretty interesting topic and a very broad topic. This is one aspect. The other one is more, I would say, internal focused. We have projects within different kind of functions. For example, one project in supply chain management in factory, where we make sure that at the final test, we get all the relevant data of the systems of the final tests in one place, do the analysis so that the system can be checked automatically, without manual interaction, and then that it can be sent out to our customers faster than it was in the past. And then a big part of my current job is really making sure that we provide the right data and actually the right information to our organization, to the deciders, to provide decision support. And we do that with several projects. One example would be a customer sentiment analysis, where we really want to understand, based on AI, what's the temperature of our customers, so to speak, to really understand, are they satisfied with the use of our machines? Are they using it in the sense we anticipated it? And are there any issues at the customer sites, And if yes, yeah, we want to understand it as fast as possible. Yeah. Why? Yeah, simply to take actions based on that. Yeah, to provide this information to the relevant people within the organization. For example, to do the right scoping for the next version or for the next service pack. Yeah, that we really make sure that we address the real customer pain points based on the data we get from them.
So I think it's really important that you talked about checking the temperature and the temperature gauge, because you don't always get that training in university and how to deal with non-technical stakeholders and how to actually really, I suppose, sell the projects, but also to have to listen to really understand the problem you're trying to solve. Talking about creating value within data science analytics, tell us about some of the pitfalls you need to be aware of, and how do you work your way around them and be very, I suppose, preemptive?
Yes, yes. Yeah, very, very important topic. Yeah. I think what you learn in academia is really on the research part, obviously. Yeah. So you know how to create models, you know all the technologies behind. But to really create value in AI and analytics projects is you have to consider it end to end. I always call that analytics to the end. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you, first of all, really understand the business problem. Yeah. You have to start from the business problem, and you have also to speak the same language. Yeah. That you can communicate with either the customers or with product management or with other functions to really address the right problem. And then it's not about creating a prototype, because that's pretty simple, and you see that very often that a lot of prototypes are created, but that's only one minor aspect. Yeah, the bigger part is really to bring that to operation. Yeah? And in many cases, they stop at having the prototypes, but prototypes are not creating real value. Real value is created if you later on integrate that in your process, that at the end of the day, your models and your framework can be used either internally, yeah, for example, by the customer service engineer who is going to the hospitals to do service on our machines, but also other stakeholders within the company, or even the customer, yeah, at the end, that it's really customized so that they can use that. And if you don't have that in mind, this process integration at the end, then your AI project is very likely to fail, in my opinion and in my experience. So we really have to make that sure. And another very big aspect is you need the right people to do that. Yeah. So you need a data scientist who really understands the research and science aspect, but you also need engineers, data engineers, yeah, who really take care of the data, who do the data processing. But because only if you have the right and curated and data with a high quality, you can use them for your models. Otherwise, your output is not what you want and what you expect. Yeah. So this engineering part of AI projects is very, very important now. And in many cases, in my experience, there's not enough focus on these topics. Yeah. And also the operationalization of these AI projects, I think it's extremely important to make sure that you also have the capabilities to operate your framework, your AI framework. If you don't do that, you will most likely not succeed.
Michael, it's a really good point, because we've been talking about creating value within data science and analytics and some of the pitfalls we need to be aware of within AI projects. But having that balanced data analytics team and people knowing what their role is, what they need to do, and what good looks like is very, very important, because it can get a little bit messy in terms of who does what's their role, being very interchangeable. And the very nature of the different roles, such as data analyst, data scientist, machine learning engineer, they're so interchangeable. It can be hard to kind of keep track of that as well. When you take into consideration 87 to 90% of projects don't go from POC into production, a high amount of energy and time and investment and resources is invested in things that don't actually make it through, which is very demotivating for all concerned within the team, but also the business can get very frustrated, and these people are very time poor at the best of times. So you really want to make sure that you're conscious of that. And within healthcare, there's also the other impact that you're helping shape people's lives for the better. So it's pretty added pressure to do a good job.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit, my final point, the trends and challenges you see coming into the field. And I suppose I have that in two ways: the trends in the future, and then the challenges we probably need to generate to get to that future that we all really hope for.
So one aspect, and this is similar to what I already mentioned, is automation. So automation of everything, which is possible to automate, because only if you automate processes, you can scale it. And scalability plays a huge role in AI. So having new technologies like robotic process automation, which is already in place, but that combined with AI, I think brings a huge value in the future. Yeah, combined with the process integration and also understanding better the processes. Process mining comes here into play, and the combination of these aspects, I think creates a huge value in the future. Speaking about the challenges in this context here are really, you have to make sure that the different kind of data you have, the different processes, that they really interchange and that it works together, everything. And we don't have that yet. This is not only about technology. This is more about how organizations are set up. You have your silos, you have different departments, you have data silos. They are not in the right place where they should be. Breaking up these silos, I think, is very important, but will be a challenge in the future in order to use the new technologies and create the best value out of it. Another aspect is, and I already mentioned that at the beginning, is the federated learning approach, that you do not do, or you don't have all the data available in the cloud or on premise. You have it really distributed, and you do distributed learning and have analytics at the edge, so close to the place where the data is created. I think there's a huge value in that. But of course, if you do that, the challenge here is having the right infrastructure in place. You have to exchange the data. You have to make sure that this also from a legal perspective is possible. So I think there are some challenges, but also huge opportunities in this field. And another big aspect is for business intelligence, bringing all the different data together, streamline it, and tell a story based on the data. We have nowadays a lot of dashboards in place. You have a lot of vendors in the field of business intelligence. But that's only the starting point. You have to combine it intelligently, and you have to provide the data and the information out of it in a storytelling way, so that the end user management, for example, can really digest it and can apply it to their specific business problems. So also here, this end-to-end approach comes into play, and will have a huge impact in the future if you do it if you implement it in the right way.
Michael, thank you very much for that comprehensive answer. You've been listening to AI Mentors podcast. My name is Mark Kelly, Chief Customer Officer at Alldus International. I've been chatting to Michael Schrapp, Head of Business Data Analytics at Siemens Healthineers. Michael, thank you very much for your time today.
It was a pleasure.
Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.